Guys, so I'm going to talk you through type 1 and type 2 errors. Before we go through that, I want to talk about remembering those terms false positive and false negative. So remember that a false positive is when you get a test result that is positive and you should have actually gotten a negative result. A false negative is when you receive a negative result for a test when you should have gotten a positive. Okay, so think about those for just a moment. And now let's relate that to a little example. So let's think about being in a courtroom. If someone is guilty and the jury gives them the verdict of guilty, that's a true positive, which means they got the consequence they should have gotten. But if you think about a person who goes to court and is not guilty, but the jury decides they are guilty, this is what you would be calling a false positive. So they are getting the positive result of guilty, but really they're not. So it's a false result. That is what we would call a type 1 error. Now, if you think back to that guilty person and then the jury decides they're not guilty, this would be considered a false negative because they are given a negative result of not guilty, but really they are. So they're falsely given that negative result. This is what's called a type 2 error. And then obviously, if someone's not guilty and they get the verdict of not guilty, then that's a true negative. So that is an okay result to have. Now, another example you can relate it to, and this one's actually my favorite because it's kind of funny. The null hypothesis is that you are not pregnant. The alternative, therefore, is that you are pregnant. So if you look at this first picture here, this is what's called a false positive. So this man is sitting here, and yes, his wife could be pregnant, but we're talking about him. He's getting a false positive result. The doctor is telling them he is pregnant, so giving him that positive test result, but really that man is not going to get pregnant himself. That is a false positive and called a type 1 error. And then the second picture is a type 2 error, which is a false negative. So this doctor is telling this clearly pregnant woman that she's not pregnant. So that is a false negative result. Terms false positive and false negative are there for you to relate to the type 1 and type 2 errors. We can't use the terminology of false positive and false negative. We have to identify them as type 1 and type 2 errors. So that's what we're going to relate that to now. So if you look through here, it says when you draw a conclusion from a significance test, we hope the conclusion that we make will be correct, but sometimes we will be wrong. There are two types of mistakes. So this is what we just reviewed. If we reject the null, when the null is actually true, that's a type 1 error. So rejecting when you shouldn't. Okay? If you fail to reject the null, but your alternative is true, meaning you have data to support you, you've committed a type 2 error. So that means you've failed to reject when you should have. Now we're using these terminology of true and false in this case because something's going to be true and something's going to be false. We just don't know what it is. Okay, so the errors happen when you find out that your null statement was true, but your conclusion was actually wrong. Okay, that would be a type 1 or type 2 error. So that's why we're using the terminology of true and false. So basically, if you look at this table here, if you decide to reject the null, but really the null ends up being true. So that means your data supported your alternative hypothesis, but really that null statement was true. This would be considered your type 1 error. So this would be type 1. If you reject the null, and then the null actually ends up being false, meaning your alternative, the data that supported your alternative was actually ended up being a true statement, that is an okay thing. Okay. If you look then at failed to reject, if you fail to reject the null when the null is true, so that means you are thinking in terms of accepting it, but really you're failing to rejecting it and it's true, that is an okay conclusion. Okay. Lastly, if you fail to reject the null, okay, so basically you're thinking you accept it and your null ends up being false, this would be your type 2 error. Okay, so again, the true and false means if those null statements end up being a true or a false statement. I'm not saying that the data that we've gotten from our sample is making them true or false. I'm saying that something has to be true in every situation. So it's if you determine that that null statement was true and you rejected it, that's a type 1 error. So your data, your sample that supported your alternative just ended up being something that wasn't actually true. It was like a random, not a good choice, okay, like a bad batch of something. If the null ends up being false and you failed to reject it, so that means you're thinking about accepting it, that would be the type 2 error. Okay. So just so you're not listening to me talk for so long in this video, I'm just going to give you the answers to the multiple choice. So take a second, read through them. If you get them wrong, talk to your classmates and figure out if someone can explain to you why the correct answer is the correct answer. Otherwise, I'll take questions when I'm back on Friday. So for example 1, for a type 2 error, the correct answer is B. For example 2, the correct answer is C. For example 3, the correct answer is C. For example 4, the correct answer is B. For example 5, the correct answer is B. Okay, and now we're going to take a look at the class notes. Okay, so if we look at the first example, I'm going to read through it with you. It says a potato chip producer and its main supplier agree that each shipment of potatoes must meet certain quality standards. If the producer determines that more than 8% of the potatoes in the shipment have blemishes, the truck will be sent away to get another load of potatoes from the supplier. Otherwise, the entire truckload will be used to make potato chips. To make the decision, a supervisor will inspect a random sample of potatoes from the shipment. The producer will then perform a significance test using these hypotheses. So the null hypothesis is that the proportion of potatoes would be 0.08. So if you look back in your reading where it says, if the producer determines that more than 8% of the potatoes in the shipment have blemishes, that's where they're getting that 0.08 from. So they're saying that P, the actual proportion of potatoes with blemishes, is equal to 0.08. So that means that's what they're claiming. And then our alternative, so he's saying the producer determines, if he determines that there's more than 8% with blemishes, so that's why our alternative is more than 0.08, because if he finds more than 0.08 with blemishes, then he's sending the truck away, or he should at least. What we're going to look for is the type 1 and type 2 error in this setting, okay? So the type 1 is when you're rejecting the null when you shouldn't. Sorry, I paused through that. Type 1 is rejecting the null when you shouldn't. So if we look here, so we're rejecting the null when the null is true. So we shouldn't have rejected it, okay? So if you think about the situation of this problem, what would that look like? So if we're talking about shipping away potatoes, that means if we get convincing evidence that the proportion of potatoes with blemishes is greater than 0.08, when the true actual proportion is actually 0.08 or less than, okay? So that means we're rejecting it when we shouldn't have. So the consequence is a truck comes and they've got great potatoes with no bruises on them, and we send it away. So that's our consequence. So we reject that truck when we shouldn't have. And then a type 2 error is when you are going to fail to reject the null when you should have. So the type 2, if you fail to reject the null when actually your alternative one ends up being true, so you shouldn't have. So in this case, if we don't find convincing evidence that more than 8% of the potatoes in the shipment have blemishes, when actually they do. So if you think about the consequence here, that means a truckload of potatoes comes in and the guy is saying, oh, these are great. And actually, they shouldn't be staying. They should be shipped away. So it's a truckload of potatoes that's accepted when they should have been sent away, because now if they make potato chips with that bad batch, those potato chips are going to have blemishes, like when you see those brown spots on potatoes, or potato chips, excuse me. So that's how you would describe the type 1 and type 2 error in the setting. Okay, so now the second part of this example about the potatoes is, I'm going to kind of skip through. The potato chip producer decides to carry out a test based on this random sample that we're working with of 500 potatoes and a 5% significance level. So that's alpha equals 0.05. What proportion of blemished potatoes would cause us to reject the null hypothesis? Okay, so we are trying to figure out the proportion of the blemished potatoes that would make us reject the null, okay? So we have to assume that our null is true, because we always have to assume something to perform the test. And then the sampling distribution of p hat will be, in this case, we have to go through our conditions. So is it a random sample? So yes, we were told it was a random sample of 500 potatoes. The shape, this is where we check we're in proportion. So we check the NP greater than or equal to 10. So we check that 40 is greater than or equal to 10 and that 460 is greater than or equal to 10. And this is plugging in our N, which is our sample size, and our P, which is 0.08 from our hypothesis. And we have to check our center. So where is our center? What are we claiming? They're claiming that this true, this should be P, my apologies, is 0.08. The spread is then finding our standard deviation. So using from our formula sheet, the proportion standard deviation formula, we plug in those values to find that our standard deviation is 0.01213. And this is assuming that there are more than 5,000 potatoes in the shipment. So that is us assuming that 10% condition. So if you look at this on a graph, this is where our significance level falls, right? Because we're at 5% significance level. So if we need to calculate what we are going to have for our p-hat, this is where we're going to use inverse norm because our conditions just satisfied the fact that we are working with normal data. So inverse norm, so the area to the left of this spot is 0.95 because if this is 0.05, all of this over here we're working with is 0.95. Then we have our mu, which should be a p, I apologize, of 0.08. So that should say p. And then a standard deviation. And then we will get our p-hat to be 0.10. So what does this mean? So we used an alpha level of 0.05, our significance level. So the values of p-hat bigger than 0.10 will cause us to reject the null, even though it's true. So this happens in 5% of all possible samples because if the 5% gives us a p-hat of 0.10, that means it happens 5% of the time. So what does this mean? This means that this is the probability of making a type 1 error. So if you think back to what a type 1 error is, the type 1 error is rejecting when you shouldn't have. Okay, so the probability being 0.05 is equal to the significance level. So again, just to kind of clarify what all of this means, if you look back to this table, this 5% is the area we're working with. And when I said that, what I mean is this is the spot that if anything falls here, this is going to be rejected, which is why since we're in that 5% significance level, anything that falls in this area will be rejected. So that means everything behind it, the 0.95, is the area in which we are not rejecting. Okay, so the p-hat that we get, if the null hypothesis is true, we would have that 5% chance of rejecting when we shouldn't have. So that's like saying, okay, I'm accepting the fact that I can be wrong 5% of the time. That is where these values come from. So what we can now just assume is that since we know that if that rejected area falls in that 5%, then every time we are asked what's the probability of a type 1 error happening, well, the probability of the type 1 error happening is the significance level. Okay, so take the rest of the time to work on your worksheets. Try to process through these type 1, type 2 errors. Try to use each other as resources to work through this. And then if you have any other questions, I will be back tomorrow. Have a good day, guys. See you later. Bye.